Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today I am bringing you my final Outriders beta class review, and I have left potentially the best for last when we look at the Trickster. Now in this video, I'm going to be providing you with my personal opinions on the overall fun level of this class, my thoughts on how this class plays within the game mechanics, and in particular, the healing mechanics, since it's such a central focus of the gameplay, as well as my kind of rankings and thoughts on the class's clear speed and survivability. After that, I am going to be providing you with my level 1 to 30 leveling starter build that I think is going to be really, really solid for this character. Um, Even if it's going to be your first character, for example, of zero experience. So I will be going over that. And finally, I'm going to show you a little bit of gameplay of me kind of showing you how I currently play the class mechanically. So this video will be a little extensive as far as length goes. Do make sure to take advantage of the timestamps below. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them. I love interacting with you guys, answering any questions I have. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into things. So, Trickster. I normally am not a fan of kind of the hit and run rogue characters, the backstabbing kind of elements in games like this, the snipers. But I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised once I gave this character a chance. Extremely fun. Has two abilities in particular right off the bat that are just ridiculous. So if we look at her skills, this ability right here, Slow Trap, is going to be, I can already predict, the ability to use when you're kind of farming a specific spot. So when the legendary farm had you farm a very particular captain, it's centralized around kind of getting to the boss as fast as you can, or the mini boss, dropping the slow trap, killing the boss as fast as possible, and picking up the loot and dying and resetting. And that was done through a combination of two main effects. It's the slow trap and also the twisted rounds, which is a ridiculous buff to your damage of your weapons. So the ability to basically not take any damage for the period of the slow, being able to just murder somebody nice and fast is really nice. Now, my only concern about this is on tougher content or things you can't burst down, this may be not as universally useful. With that being said, between this ability and Hunt the Prey ability, which lets you basically teleport around the map, get behind enemies, slaughter them, and then teleport back out, I have a feeling that these two abilities will be big parts of gameplay for the majority of individuals. Now, I really like Twisted Rounds. This may or may not get replaced at higher levels, but it is very, very good in the beta. So is Temporal Blade. It just wipes everything out in front of you. The slow is great, and obviously interrupt against like boss targets or elites that have casting. Yeah, relatively fast refresh time on the skill as well. So these are great, great combos here. And again, it just makes the playstyle feel really visceral and really, really fun. Again, when you basically use Temporal Blade on enemies within the slow trap and you see them turn into skeletons and then they kind of blow up and there's body parts and skeleton pieces fly everywhere, just really, really, really fun. Works really, really great. I do want to comment on the healing mechanism of the Trickster. She basically, when she kills enemies in melee range, similar to the Devastator, she'll get some health back, but she's also going to get some shielding back. And I feel like this is a really good return because she gets 20% of healing instead of 24, but then gets an additional 12 shielding. And that does decay over time, but the fact that you can have your max health and your shielding just gives you this extra meaty full of survivability, which I really, really, really like. and you're already going to be up in melee quite a bit with her. So it's it just works really, really well. And again, I like it better than the devastator mechanism. Now, because there will be times where maybe you're not going to have a bunch of things to kill for this buff, and you're going to be facing against tougher bosses. Because of that, when it comes to her healing mechanism, I think it's really smart to have at least one other way to heal, mainly meaning kind of like a life tap. So the build I'm going to be providing you with, you're going to be able to heal from all your skill damage, and that should be plenty enough. But just know that you're probably going to want to have something in addition to this baseline. Now, for those that you don't know, you also heal back health kind of slowly, kind of like a healing over time effect when you are in cover. Now, it's only between like 0 and like 30 or 33%, but do note if you're struggling against a boss or a mini boss and you know you have nobody that you can kill, all the adds are dead, you can always go behind cover, heal up, get out there, use your cooldowns, then get back out, heal behind cover, and so forth. That is a viable strategy. So healing wise, she is, if you play her correctly and are nice and quick and don't get in over your head, survivability is pretty darn good with her, I found. Now, clear speed and overall survivability. Her clear speed is going to be through the roof. She's probably going to be, I'm 90% confident, the fastest assassin for just speed burns to get to an area, kill a target, and kind of refresh and refarm, especially on content that's like moderate to hard difficulty, not insane difficulty. She may struggle sometimes with content that's above her head, like max level, if she can't kill things fast enough. That's my only concern. But as far as speed farming, I think it's going to be very hard to beat her with the right build. And again, survivability for a quote-unquote roguelike character is way, way higher than, I would expect. I personally wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed heading into release or sometime later, because very, very easy to stay alive if you know what you're doing with the Trickster. Okay. Now that's going to bring me right to the build. So you may have already, if you've been watching the entire video, seen the hints of it. It's going to revolve early levels around having twisted rounds for your burst damage, your temporal blade for an AoE killer, and also an interrupter and debuffer, because that slow is not just movement, it's attack speed too. And then really what's going to switch out is either slow trap, or if you want to kind of go, you know, you're not necessarily like farming the dangerous monsters and you want to have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more mobility, get in and out of trouble more easily, then I actually would use Hunt the Prey. Later on, as you level up, you may want to take advantage of the little whirlwind ability, potentially over Temporal Blade. We'll see. Haven't had a chance to test it out yet. And it also gets, I believe it's a level 17 ability, where she goes and kind of throws these like shurikens that bounce around and kill things. That could potentially be really, really good as well. So we're going to have to see how that improves. Has other movement abilities as well, but as far as kind of survivability and movement, I actually like Hunt the Prey and Slow Trap the best. Okay. Now let's take a look at the actual class nodes. So this is going to be my level 1 to 30 build. Now, there's a couple good ways you can build this character. The way I'm going to recommend you build it is not going to be really super reliant on gear. And no matter what you're doing and how you're playing, I think this will give you the best chance of just going through the content as fast as possible. So you're going to start here, and you're going to notice we're going to be stacking a lot of anomaly power, so a lot of skill damage. And we're going to also go right into the skill leech, so that in addition, as I mentioned earlier in the video, to getting health and shielding whenever you kill an enemy in melee, just anytime your abilities do damage, you're going to get life back as well. Then you're going to go here, get an additional concentration, and then what you want to do is actually go up here. So anomaly scything, activating melee skills increases your anomaly power by 30% for 5 seconds. Because what you normally want to do is you want to get into combat, do your melee, and then spam your skills. You can, right off the bat, if you want, go for against the odds, which is pretty decent. It's not going to be as powerful early on. It'll be much better when you have high anomaly. And what I really care about here is that interrupt, the mass interrupt when you reload. In addition, right here, Cycle of Life and Death grants an additional 10% health for each enemy that died at close range. That gets you to 30% life, 12% shielding. Early in the game, you're going to be healing more from melee than the Devastator. That's ridiculous. That's broken. Hopefully they don't nerf it. Okay, so that's really what you want to get into. Once you get that, honestly, it's going to be GG. But let's keep going. You're going to want to go here and get this decreased cooldown for your damage skills. You're going to be using probably 2 out of the 3 of these skills more often than not. So you got that initial temporal slice on the left there. You're going to have your, twisted bullets, and then potentially that if you might swap out, the temporal slice for that low whirlwind ability. It's going to be depending on your flavor. The point is you want to get that going as quickly as you can. Another way of you staying alive in the heat of things. Then you're going to go here, get another concentration. Okay. Now you're going to, for now, skip Withering Scythe, but we'll probably come back for this later because meleeing and adding weakness on top of slow is ridiculously good. You're going to continue here. And again, if you couldn't resist and you got this weakness Withering Scythe buff early, then go ahead and get Atrophy. Increases the duration of the weakness for 30%. That's pretty good. If you didn't get that, and if you have no way of adding on weakness, go ahead and get Disturbing Coating. Notice we are going to skip Counter Shield. We're skipping Assault Master. Now, if you're going to be using the Hunt the Prey, that teleporting ability that I really like that you get behind enemies, then you may very well want to get Combat Shield's Timeline. Because again, you're going to be spamming that, with cooldowns every day, like potentially 5 to 6 seconds. You can have 100% uptime if you want on this 50% anomaly power. That's ridiculous. Then you have 2 options, Life Leech or Extra Power. I err on the side of Life Leech unless you're just steamrolling everything. Then you could just min-max your DPS output by getting concentration instead. More concentration here. And now here's the other really, really key thing to this. You're going to go down here. You're going to get this additional 15% cooldown reduction. So you're now at 30% cooldown reduction for the damage skills. And right there, there's the end of games. When your damage skill ends, increase your anomaly power by 50%. Why is this big? You're going to have a ton of cooldowns. You're going to be able to basically go in. You're going to do your, where's that, right here. You're going to do your movement ability to get behind enemies. You're going to get that anomaly buff. You're going to go and spam either your temporal blade once and get another 50%. So you're now at 100% more damage plus your other bonuses. If you have some of the mods that lets you use that temporal blade more than once, and you can easily even get them in beta, you can now, the secondary spam of that ability, you're going to be able to just have ridiculous damage scaling. And again, this will help you melt anything in the game pretty much once you get this. But you're not done yet, okay? You're going to move on here. You're going to get more skill life lead. So again, when you're spamming these abilities, you're just maxing out your health and your shielding. Then you're going to go here is at the end of a damage skill, increase your armor piercing by 30% and resistance piercing by 25% for 10 seconds. So remember how I said when you're going to spam the temporal blade most likely? Well, use it once and that skill has ended. Now that second spam, or potentially third or fourth, depending on what the mods are like, you're getting that 100 minimum % anomaly damage plus all these concentration stacks to give you an idea. Plus, don't forget you're gonna have other potential debuffs there on top of it. And now you're gonna be able to pierce their armor, pierce their resistances. And then the coup de grace on this, you're going to have Shadow's Embrace. Your firepower is increased by 15% of your anomaly power. So all that magical anomaly power is now going to transfer to your guns as well. And you're going to finish off with Altered Execution for each enemy in close combat range. Anomaly power is increased by an additional 10%. So when you get to this point, you can just basically teleport into large groups and just murder absolutely everything. So that right there is your build. Again, you're going to have like 1 point left. If you had skipped the weakness, or basically if you go through this build as noted and get the weakness, will be 20 out of 20. Again, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get any of, you're not going to be able to get counter shield. You may be tempted to get assault master. Maybe if you're farming for a specific item, you might like, get rid of one of these buffs temporarily, and get this so you can get the better drop rate. It's up to you. But that is the build. Guaranteed it's going to melt worlds. Not that the other ones are bad. They're fine. But I just don't see anything competing with this, especially with the crazy anomaly scaling. Now, let's finally go ahead and see some gameplay. So I'm actually using a rifle right now, which is probably not optimal, but it only has 8 bullets. But luckily, I have a thing. There we go. So let's take a look. So you got your normal area. Enemies are here. You slow them. 1 shot. These tougher ones, you're going to use the Vorpal Blade. 1 shot. Hello. Are you going to take 2 shots? 2 shots. So I already have this on cooldown. They're all dead. Who are you kidding? I haven't even had to use my special ability yet. All right. So let's see here. Oh, they're going to come out. We didn't forget about you. Okay, now we're going to have... Oh, it's just bread baskets of loveliness. You're all dead. And you get a dead, and you get a dead, and you get a dead, and you get a dead. You get a dead. Oops. Wasn't close enough. And as you can see, this is on the max difficulty right now. And whoops. And we are just annihilating things. Everything is popping like popcorn shrimp. Or it could be more aggressive with this ability. And again, I'm using a freaking rifle for this build. And when we have this buff up, it's game over. I mean, just that stacking of the damage is just absolutely insane. And don't forget, this is before getting any of those funky, lovely feats. Or skill nodes. Now, let's go take a look at this boss. Because this is hilarious when you fight mini bosses. There is nobody in the game that's going to be as good at melting these kind of like mid bosses. Maybe the technomancer when you get all built up. And again, if you haven't seen my technomancer video, check it out. I have the build to end all builds, in my opinion, for min-maxing solo play and even for group play. It's got like over 80% vulnerability buff innately and just destroys everything. All right, so let's take a look. Here's what we're going to do here. We're going to come on in. There we go. Boss is dead. You go like, are you kidding me? 3-shot. That is not an easy enemy I just 3-shot. Go around the corner. Right around the river bend. And if you want to feel like the ultimate badass, mission freaking accomplished. And commence with the curb stomping. So, that, ladies and gentlemen, and let's be honest, mainly gentlemen, is the almighty Trickster. And this is without any legendary gear, nothing too special. I mean, I got full set of blue gear. That's about it. And those are your results. It's only going to get nastier. If you don't mind this fast-paced gameplay, this is the class for you. Again, for me, overall, I like all 4 classes. This one right here constantly surprised me the entire time I played it. I didn't think I was going to like this class, and I absolutely love it. So again, hope you guys enjoy this content. Again, if you like it, you find it helpful, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. This is Leeroy from Leeroy Gaming, and I'm going to see you guys next time.